Hello, welcome everyone to the Eightfold Paths to Liberate Free using the 8 new competencies. My name is Siri and I'm the Director for Innermost Shift Coach Training. The Eightfold Paths to Liberate Free and using these 8 ICF Core Competencies is actually a journey to spread awareness of the impact of these ICF Core Competencies in coaching and also in this new world normal, and how conscious use of these competencies can really create a remarkable difference in our everyday life. So it's not only about just coaching and coaches, it's also about how we can use these competencies in our day-to-day life, how they are going to make an impact. So in this endeavor, we have partnered with most outstanding MCC coaches who are taking us through a journey of how to apply these new ICF core competencies so that it can help the coaches to be more present, listening more differently, raising their engagement level with different clients, and much more. So today we have with us Rodica Obancea, an MCC mentor coach. Rodica is a passionate coach to inspire small changes and yet bring big results, and has been working as a coach since 2007 with the clients from various companies among consultancies, pharma, retail, logistics, automotive publishing, insurance, and many more companies. During these years, she has also coached more than 350 leaders and over 60 teams to put into practice the changes that they needed to achieve the results that they really wanted to. And becoming a psychologist was a dream come true for her. And she has worked in both private and organizational practices since 2000, focusing mainly on training and developing. Being mesmerized with the organizational world, and by the way, right people at the right place can make the entire company's performance very well. So from 2005 until the beginning of 2008, she worked as a human resource manager at Real Hypermarket, a member of the Metro Group. Over time, she realized that her vocation is to be on the edge of organizations, to witness the dynamics and underlying structure of an organization, teams, or leaders, and the most valuable position to her was to be a coach. And she says she likes it to be the spark that ignites the vision in people, leaders, and teams to reach the potential they cannot dare to aspire. She likes to be the challenger of transformation that leaders choose together with their teams and contribute to creating a shared vision of the entire organization, and this to become the conspiracy that makes them change their present reality. She believes that learning is a continuous process and has a commitment to a sustainable, ethical, and ecological coaching practice, which for her is to coach and train herself with different coaches in Romania and abroad, to spend time for supervision and mentoring, but also continue to be curious about the new ways to bring the best as a coach. She so beautifully puts her learning from the coaching profession that a step in the client's world is a step in my own. Very, very beautifully put. Rodica also volunteers as a coach in the Leaders Foundation, a foundation that is committed to the development of responsible, capable, and innovative young leaders who will work for the progress of all the members of Romanian society. How wonderful that is, Rodica. Rodica, I welcome you today.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Siri, for your kind invitation. I'm honored to be part in this journey because I heard a lot of things from you, what you are doing with the new ICF competencies and this deep dive with the core competencies. So thank you for the invitation. I know that I think I'm the last from your guests.
Yeah, yes, it's not the last, but then yes, you're going to talk about the ICF core competency, which is the 8, right?
The 8 and the last competency, so to say, because it is that competency that is showing us that it is a good time to close the coaching conversation. And in a way, so I'm honored to talk about this competency. It is one of my favorites to facilitate clients' growth, because in a way, this is coaching. This is what is all about in coaching.
Absolutely.
Clients, either they are individuals or they are groups or they are teams, it is about expanding awareness and growth. So basically, this is what I do with all my clients.
Absolutely. You're very correct. The last competency, but absolutely a wonderful competency, because that's what coaching is. When we help the clients to take the accountability, design the goals, design the action plan, help them to learn and identify what they have learned, and also putting them that how potentially they have the resources within them and they can really move forward, and, kind of making them aware with the new learnings, what they have got. Absolutely wonderful. So, Rodica, I would like that if you could share some of your cases of coaching that you have done.
Yes, I can share some coaching partnerships that I have to illustrate better these competencies, but I'll invite you to do some reflection about this competency, because what I've learned about coaching until now in the last 14, 15 years since I've started this practice is that, coaching is not linear, and it is emergent. It's a spiral, so to say. So maybe we are starting with a coaching agreement with an intention from the client, and in a linear way we can say that we will end the coaching conversation with an action plan. But basically it's not quite like this, because there are plenty of opportunities in the coaching conversation to invite the clients to put an insight, to make a decision, to make a choice, and to put his or her insight in an action. So the 8 competencies, so to say, it's not present only at the end of the session when it is the last part and it is a good moment to close, to have a beautiful closing and an actionable one, but it is present all the time from the beginning to the end. There are moments where the coach may invite the client to take a decision, to capture his insight or his awareness, his or her awareness in something very concrete and tangible. So I'm not seeing this competency only at the end. And I saw a lot of coaches in my practice. I work also as a mentor coach, and I've met a lot of coaches in my practice. And in the last 5 minutes of their coaching session, they are, in a hurry to address all these closing questions. So my invitation for all the coaches is to address growth, let's say, to address the questions that facilitates growth in all the moments of the sessions, not only at the end, to invite the clients to integrate their awareness or their learnings, to invite the clients to establish actions and to establish accountability measures, to invite the client to explore their learnings about themselves or about their situation, and to think about how can they multiply their learnings outside the coaching space. So there are plenty of opportunities where we can use this competency.
Definitely. So would you like to share one or two cases where you have coached people, maybe individuals or leaders, or how did you manage it? How did you do it?
Yes, I can give you one example. I thought about 2 examples in my practice, an individual coaching client and also a team coaching client. And I choose these clients because it's a good illustration of these competencies, although I use all the competency all the time, but I will speak mostly about this one. And I will talk to you with about a client that I worked, I don't know, 1 or 2 years ago. It was before pandemic and COVID, and we were meeting face to face. At this moment, I'm not meeting my clients face to face. We work only remote due to COVID. But with this client, he was an executive in a banking industry, and it wasn't him that requested a coach partner. Actually, the organization prescribed him coaching, because at that point there was a lot of pressure in that organization. There was a lot of pressure on results, And this executive was a key leader in that organization for delivering some specific results. But in the same time, this executive was recognized within the organization as being a difficult manager. He was a good expert in his field, in his area of expertise. And the organization wanted to keep him in the organization, but in the same time, they wanted to reduce the number of employees that were leaving because of this manager. This was the story at that point in the organization. So I met the client in this context. It wasn't something that he chose to do. He was invited to to work with a coach and to improve his delegation skills, and also to improve his people skills, keeping the results that his team was delivering to the organization, the value that his team was delivering, but changing the way they were delivering the value into organization. Mm-hmm. So this person was a very result-driven person, and in the same time a very good expert. And he was recognized for his expertise, although he was a director and he was managing a team of managers. Normally in the organization, people were coming directly to him to address some questions, or they were coming to him for solutions instead of going to his managers or people that he was managing. And in time he managed to develop a reputation that he is very much in control, and he is quite a good specialist, and was appreciated like this, being a specialist, a problem solver, not an executive. One of the strengths that I learned about this client was his ability to create structures and to create processes. And I choose to acknowledge the client for his strength, and I invite him to put this strength at work, also for his development objectives. So it was an invitation to design new management processes that can create other results. So to create the results that he really wanted to create, results that includes not only business results, but also people results in terms of, let's say, inspiration, in terms of kindness, in terms of delegation. So all kinds of results that were necessary in his role. In the same time, I used each opportunity in our session to invite this executive to get in touch with his emotions and to increase awareness of his executive presence. So to become aware of himself and how is he present in a situation. So one question that I used to address was, how do I choose to be present here and now? This was a specific invitation that I remember that I used to address frequently. There were moments where the executive was telling me, Rodica, listen, when I am in a meeting, it's like I'm hearing you in my mind. It's like you are here with me. And this was a very concrete evidence for me that this specific client was started to develop his inner coach, so his inner voice, because in his day-to-day activity, he started to become aware of the learnings that he has in the sessions. Yes, he was putting my face or my voice over that, but actually he was the one that started to ask questions and started to become aware of his presence, his choices in those situations. So this was a good example that I keep it with me, and I'm using this with other clients, that there will be moments when you will start to ask yourself the question that I used to ask you. And that will be a good indicator that coaching has, worked well for you.
So I really like the term, what you mentioned, inner coach, so that's what the voice, which you said you made him, that he could hear your voice and it was his inner coach, what you said. So beautifully said. And you're very correctly, I think that's what you really mentioned was very beautiful, that it's not only about the action and the goals only in the end, but during the session also many times the client get the insights, and then you can actually help them to integrate that learning and that insights, and also understand that what they can do at different steps. And what you mentioned, that he could design the whole strategy for himself, designing it. So let's say if somebody does not follow up the goals, they have set the goals, they have set the action plan, but if they do not do it, then how would you do it?
It is not my responsibility to do it for them. So I'll put that, let's say, I'll reflect that. Okay, I remember that you took the commitment to do that and that and that, and you didn't do it. What is here for you? What is the learning? What do you need to, what's the message here for you? Maybe there is something there for them. There are a lot of clients that, I don't know, maybe they overcommit to do a lot of things and they don't, it is not possible. Maybe that's a pattern for them. I don't know. So basically from the coaching conversation, the clients come back to their day-to-day activity with a plan, with something in mind, something they have to do. But, in the field, the patterns are showing, are emerging. So it is a good opportunity for them also to observe them, to learn how to observe them and learn how to witness them, their activities, their choices, their commitments. What do they commit to and what do they really do? So there are some things that I invite clients to be aware and to see what's the lesson there for them. So what I learned in the coaching process is that coaching is really valuable, and it's helping you as a person to put a lot of things in practice and to put new things in practice. But in the same time, it is about you as a person, how you grow as a person, how you expand your awareness, how you expand your thinking, your feeling, how you expand the way you see yourself in a situation. So it is more about who you are as a person and what you choose to do from who you are. I don't know if that makes sense.
Absolutely, you're right, because it's actually the client's responsibility to do if they have put the goals and action plan, and definitely, they can do it. And, like I had also one of the cases, I remember I was coaching one of the girls, and she's working in a school as a life coach. And when it came to her, and then we had set a goal that she's going to practice certain things and, be a more listener, be a good listener, and something which she came up with. I remember she gave me a call after 2 days saying that, ma'am, I have, put the session that I'm going to practice it in a day at least 3-4 times, but I'm not getting the time. So every time I sit, it's getting too much for me. So what do? I said, what would you like to set for yourself? It's your goal and it's your practice. If I can do it twice a day, I said, yeah, that's perfectly fine. So I said, if absolutely right, when people become aware of what they are doing, I think it's easier for them also to set the right kind of goals and right kind of action steps, right? And then of course they're accountable for it. That's the key word, that they are accountable for their goals. So what do you do in terms of, let's say the client has come out with a solution, and then how do you help them to become aware of the resources, what they have, or the support that they need, to kind of work on their action plan and the way to move forward? So how do you do that part?
It depends on the client. Normal or usually I'm listening, and I'm listening how do they design their action plans? What is their energy in the action plan? What do they feel about their actions? How do they speak about their actions? And sometimes there are some, how should I say, incongruences, so to say. There are, I can give you an example. I work with a client and he was very enthusiastic about a transformation that he should do. He was aware of the fact that he has to transform something in the way he is working. And he got a lot of insight during the session about his patterns, about some things that he is stuck in, about some limitations, so limiting beliefs. And by the end of the session, he managed to put, I don't know, some actions on the paper because he liked to write. So he was writing everything in his agenda. And I was very attentive. When he was writing, he was also speaking. I will do that by tomorrow, by 9. And I don't know who will help me, but he was speaking in a very low voice and with a very low energy. And I asked him, okay, I know that you are enthusiastic, that you know you have to do that, but I'm listening your energy when you talk about the actions. What's here for you? And it was a moment when he became aware of the fact that cognitively he knows what he has to do, but emotionally he's not ready yet to do it. He didn't accept it, you know. He was aware at the rational level that, okay, I have to do that. That's clear. There was no misunderstanding here. But in the same time, at the emotional level, he wasn't at peace with that. So it was a conflict there, and it was visible in his energy when he was designing and writing the action plan. And it was a good, you know, it was a good moment to make peace with himself, to make peace with the situation, and to allow himself to move forward from a different state of, from a different mindset.
I think that's very wonderful. Yeah, you do understand when people are setting the goals and their energy is mismatched in what they say, you know. So let's say, you know, if you can share some case, if you have handled something like that, or maybe something has happened, when people are incongruent, you know, sometimes they set the action plan, and as a coach or as a part of being with the person, you understand that this goal or this person has set an action plan. Maybe this is too high for him, or it's incongruent for the person himself or herself. Then how would you challenge it using your own intuition, or how would you challenge that person that time?
I don't know if I use something, you know, a recipe here, because each person is different, and the purpose of coaching is to maximize potential. So that person potential. So if that person decides for himself or herself that she will do that, great, do that. I'll be there, you know, I'll trust my client that he or she is able to do whatever he says he wants to do. Who am I to say to him, oh, listen, it's too much for you. I don't think you will be able to do it. Because there are a lot of you know, there are people, and I saw that also to myself, that are making a lot of, you know, leap of faith. When they decided that they will do something, maybe it is high, maybe it is too much, but they took the commitment that they will do it, they will do it. So I am a partner to the client, and I am there for them, but also maybe it is important to make them be aware of some things. Maybe there will be obstacles on the road, and I'll invite them to take them in consideration. Maybe that it will be sustainable for them to think about who can help them, because there are a lot of people that are very ambitious and that they set very high targets or very high results, and they want to do it by themselves, and sometimes it's not sustainable. And I'll invite them to find strategies on how to do it in an easy way. It depends on the person, but I fundamentally believe that when a person said that he will do it, I trust he will do it.
Okay, I think that's a part of being a wonderful coach, that we always trust people that whatever they're setting is coming from them and they will achieve it, right? So any other case that you would like to talk about, one individual and maybe some team or leader or somebody whom you have discussed where?
Yes, I put on writing a case about a study case about a team that I used to work. It is a team coaching project. So I partner as a coach with the management team of an organization in heavy production field, part of a multinational company that is also present in Romania. It has a plant in Romania. And, in this management team, let's say the main perspective was an engineering perspective, because all the managers used to be engineers at the beginning of their career. So they were very pragmatic, and their perspective were pragmatic. But in the same time, in that year, they had a very clear objective to increase their performance. So measurable performance to be increased in their plant. In this field, in this industry, the competition is high. Around Romania, there were many other similar companies producing the same things as they were producing. And it was a very specific request to them to differentiate themselves and to increase productivity and to increase performance, because otherwise there was no, point or purpose to keep the plant in Romania. There were others abroad and close to Romania that were more productive. So it was 1 year that I worked with this team, and during the coaching session, the team became aware of the fact that they operate more from the operational side and less on the strategic one, as a thinking, let's say, preference, as a thinking style. As manager, they were acting from specialist perspectives, although they were in managerial roles. And for example, their management meetings, 2 hours, 10 managers were full of problem solvings and a lot of emergencies from the operational side. So they were captivated, all their attention was put in solving problems from the operational level, although they were a management team and their objective was to run the company. It was a big company, 1,000 employees and things like this, but they were very drawn into the operational side. So it was very hard for them to accept what I observe as a coach, this, attention into the operational side, only problem solving and less big thinking and strategic thinking, to make a commitment to change. It became obvious that they can increase their productivity and their results by thinking in different ways as managers, delegating more, involving people to create solutions, and not waste their time and energy in very, low impact solutions, for example. And a few months working with that management team, I was a person non grata for them, because I was to challenge them all the time in all the meetings, and it was quite hard for them. They were in resistance mode for a few months. So it wasn't easy. To all my invitations that I was giving them as a coach to look systemically on their solutions, or to look systemically on the way how they create, how they intervene in the system, or how they work together, they were postponing actions and find justifications why this is not possible here. We cannot do that. We have a lot of problems. We have to, to find solution. We have no time to think strategically. It was, it was a very good way to keep themselves and to consolidate the status quo.
So how did you really help them to connect to their resourceful state, because they were so resisting, you said?
Yeah, they were resisting, but in a way, this was a resource, because in their resistance, they, they opposed me and I became their enemy. So they made a very good alliance. They were a very united team, but they were united against me. I'm laughing here. It wasn't easy as a coaching intervention, but I make them aware of the fact that they are very united and they work together and they have a very strong alliance as managers. But how can they put all this alliance and all these resources in their objectives direction, not to fight against me? And it was a good moment for them of awareness, and they decided to switch. And they accepted this fact. Okay, they have a good alliance, they are a good team, but they are using their energy in a negative direction. And they started to integrate changes in their management meetings, and also they started to bring changes, to multiply the changes within their teams. And yeah, it was visible. It was visible, for example, in their management meetings. They work a lot, their growth came from the way they were taking decisions as a team. For example, when I started to work with them, 10 managers were meeting twice per month in a management meeting for 2 or 3 hours, and leaving that management meeting with 1 or 0 decisions. So it was such a waste of time, of resources, of energy. But after a few months, they became very aware of the fact that their management meetings were full of decisions, quantitative decisions, qualitative decisions. So their, management meetings were ended with very concrete action plans. So they know who will do what, until when, how will they monitor that. So that part was the most visible one. That, let's say, if they have a meeting for 2 hours, at least 1 hour was very concrete, dedicated to this, to action plan, what they will do, who will do what, until when, what is the impact, who will monitor progress, which are the KPIs, how it is the accountability, a lot of focus on this post meeting implementation executions. And it worked very well for them, because they also took this mindset and this very clear and actionable conversation, and they put it also in their teams. And they are still running the factory, the plant, because they managed to increase their performance. They managed to change this urgency and to take everything as an emergency, and they managed to increase their decision-making process. And we celebrated after 1 year, I think. We finished the contract. It was the last session, and okay, shake hands, things like this. We took the lesson learned. We did a session. The last session was a session dedicated to monitor progress, to share some lesson that they have learned, you know, this kind of thing.
What do you do? So when you do this, when you were doing these coaching sessions, Rodica, did you have a tool for them to put it in some format? Or what do you think? What can you suggest new coaches, especially, when you are coaching people? And so what do you suggest? Do some tool, or they should do some tool to formats where they would, put it across that how they are making the progress, or how would you do it? Or what would you tell the new coaches?
I will invite the new coaches and the old coaches, senior coaches, to use clients' resources, because clients are full of resources internally and, instrumental at the instrumental level. And I'm working only in organization, and at this point, I don't think that is only in Romania. I think it's worldwide. In organization, people have a lot of tools. They have a lot of systems, they have a lot of methods, they have a lot of instruments that they can use. And for example, I work with a lot of teams that they have plenty instruments, but they don't use it. And in a way, it is an invitation for them to become aware of the resources that they already have, and to use that. For example, this organization used to have an app, so they bought an app for, to put these operational things, to monitor results. It was a dashboard and things like this, but they didn't use it. And they use it here. So it was a good instrument that they decided to, they put the objectives from the beginning of the process. From session to session, they were writing the decisions in that app, things like this. So they use the resources that exist. There are a lot of tools available. Okay, and most of organizations already have them.
So you mean to say coaching also helps them to really understand what are the kind of resources they have it even in the organization, and kind of reactivate and use some of it which was not being used. I think that's a wonderful insight.
Yeah, it's a parallel, because as human, we do have resources, but we forgot about them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And also it's the same with the team.
Right, right. So what do you think, we have accountability as one of the factors, Rodica. If we are seeing in terms of coaching, definitely yes. But let's say in today's scenario, how do you think this accountability can really help people in their lives, in their day-to-day living, especially with the scenario what's happening right now? So what do you think about that?
I think I'm contemplating this competency, or let's say ability of being accountable for yourself and for your objectives and for the promises that you make, or for the contracts that you do with others. And I'm contemplating with myself, because I'm a very, let's say, busy person. I do have a lot of projects, and I do have a lot of contracts. I do say yes to many invitations that I have, and sometimes it's quite difficult, to be accountable for all. And it is a continuous learning for me to be accountable for myself and my promises. And I noticed that that's the same for the clients I work with. We live in a complex world with a lot of pressure on, results.
Yes. So how can we make them accountable? So if everybody becomes accountable at their own place, I think it could be wonderful. So how can we do that? How can we make them accountable?
I don't have a trick for that, and there is no magic, by magic that won't happen. What can I do? I can be accountable for myself, and I can model that in relationship with my clients. But what the client chooses to do, these are his choices. And what of course I can invite the client to to look in this part, to be aware of his accountability, to learn something about it if he wants to learn something about it. I think for me, coaching is a partnership. So my role is not to be a policeman and to, you know, to punish people because they said something they didn't do it. My role is to reflect that and to invite them to take a look and to be aware and to make a decision if they want to make a decision in this direction. So this is how I'm seeing it. It is a partnership. But what I can do, I can be accountable for myself about how am I present and what do I, you know, demonstrate and model as a coach in the relationship.
I think what you said right now, Rodica, it makes a sense that if we help them to reflect inward and through the whole process of coaching, and yes, as a coach, we are accountable, and as a client, also in terms of increasing the accountability factor within themselves, a reflection and going inside and finding out that how much they can be accountable, and especially relating to today's world when things are happening in a very different way, which nobody ever thought about it. And I think if each one of us can become accountable at our own positions, at our own place, be much more, kind of available also to people to help not only to our own families, but outside, I think that can really increase the whole cohesiveness, and it can really, you can feel that part of connectedness, because we are all though connected, but there was never a sense of that. So probably the times have really taught us that how we are not we are accountable for ourselves, we're also accountable for the other lives which are happening around us and maybe even far away. What do you think about that?
You in India and us in Romania and all over the countries, you know, we are living times that nobody thought about it. There were words, I don't know, in the past years that another crisis will come, but nobody knew or expected that it will be a sanitary crisis. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of lessons here, a lesson in this direction of, you know, we as humanity, how can we support each other in these difficult times? But in the same time, there are individual lessons. I'm thinking here at one example. When we are traveling by plane, you know, there is when the flight attendant gave us the instructions with the mask. First put your mask on yourself and then help the other one next to you, because we are all accountable for ourselves. So if we first take care of ourselves, then we can take care for others. So for me, the pandemic was a very good, a very strong lesson in this direction, how to take care of myself, how to put limits, how to learn how to rest, and really take care of myself. There are many examples that I can give here, and this is a good lesson. If accountability means taking care of ourselves first and then paying attention to others.
Very said, very beautiful insight. Absolutely. If you become accountable for yourself, it's easier, and if you help yourself, it's easier that you can help others as well. Very wonderful said. So what is like one of the message or that you would like to give to the new coaches?
Well, I remember how it was for me when I was a new coach. I was very fortunate, so to say, and I'm grateful because as a new coach, at that point, I didn't find so many mentors. Actually, I was challenged to trial and error, you know, to make a lot of mistakes and to learn from it. And now I'm grateful for it because I learned a lot. And I managed to have, you know, hundreds of clients, hundreds. And this is huge because I went out in the market and I was, inviting people to do coaching with me. And of course, I made plenty mistakes, but also the learning was quite high. So I'll invite the new coach to get out in the market and to start coaching conversation and to make mistakes, to learn from it, but to have this courage, because coaching, it is a profession at this point. What I'm seeing around me, there are thousands of coaches. I assume in your country, it's a bigger number. There are a lot of people interested. But although it sounds interesting and maybe it is an exotic job that you can do, if you do not have clients and if you do not go out and create projects, well, it's just something nice. So I'll invite the new coaches to take their courage, go out, make mistakes, and learn from it. And like this, they will become better and better coaches.
And we always tell people, the more mistakes you do, the more better you become, because that's going to be your takeaway and you will learn a lot out of it.
Yeah,
I think it was a wonderful session. Thank you so much, Rodica. Thank you everyone for joining us. And I hope all of you will really implement the part of accountability, understanding, being accountable for yourself, and then helping others. And I think thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Rodica.
Thank you. Health to all of you, to all of us. And when we see each other next time, to be, to be healthy and to take good care of us and others.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.